Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a fresh episode of ATP Live. And this is a special edition because it is the World Breastfeeding Week, and we are going to be talking about breastfeeding. We've been talking about breastfeeding all this week. We've talked about breastfeeding um, with Dr. Rutsimi on Monday when he talked about the benefits of breastfeeding. And now we watched all our breastfeeding videos yesterday. So I believe you've known everything about how to start breastfeeding, the position, how to increase your breast milk supply, and all that. If you have not yet watched the video, I encourage you to do that. The breastfeeding videos are available on our Facebook group. They are available on Global Health Media YouTube pages, and they're also available on the app, Birds and Beyond app. You can download and you can watch everything you need to know about breastfeeding, and it's available in multiple languages, including Yoruba and Hausa. So it's important that you watch the breastfeeding videos, everything you need to know about breastfeeding. So today my beat is to talk about the myths and the facts of breastfeeding. Some of you may also have read the WHO 10 facts on breastfeeding, also available on our page. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the myths associated with breastfeeding. And I want you to ask your questions on breastfeeding. But before we start, we're going to make sure we share our videos to all the various pages. Apologies for starting about 5 minutes later. But I just want to make sure everybody can see the video. So I will encourage you to share the video, invite everybody. And while we're doing the sharing, if you have any questions, any myths, any concerns about breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, feel free to drop it in the comment section, whether on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook page or our Facebook group. I will be able to see your questions and I'll be able to answer them. But I just want to quickly share the video so that everybody can see it. So you're welcome. It's been quite a while. I've been on live. So just give me a few minutes. So I encourage you to also share the videos, send it to your story, your page, everywhere. And I'm sure everybody will be able to see it and join us. All right. A few more minutes. Just make sure all our groups can see the breastfeeding video. I think we have it on that group already. Okay. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, you're welcome to a special edition of ATP Live. And we're celebrating it is a World Breastfeeding Week every 1st to the 7th of August. Every year has been designated for breastfeeding, talking about breastfeeding, everything related to breastfeeding. And the theme for this year is actually to educate, to support, and to educate about breastfeeding. So I think that is exactly what I am doing right now. And it's a big topic, and that's what we're going to talk about for the whole of this week. And we've started, and I'm sure Dr. Rutsimi on Monday has talked to you about the benefits of breastfeeding. And some of us on yesterday we watched our breastfeeding videos. I'm sure you have watched them. If you have not watched them, you can still watch them as well. Okay, I just want to check on the groups that the breastfeeding videos okay. I just want to make sure they are pinned to the various pages. Just give me a few minutes, 1 or 2 more minutes, and I'll be done, and then we can face the topic properly. Welcome. If you're just joining me, my name is Baby Salaboide, and I'm going to be talking about breastfeeding today. We're specifically going to be focusing on the myths that are associated with breastfeeding today. So if you have any questions about breastfeeding, feel free to start popping your questions into the boxes, whichever pages you're watching from. You can drop your questions there, and we'll try and answer them in the next 1 hour that I have with you. Okay, I think I'm almost there now. So just to check that we have the videos on top of the pages. Just give me 2 more minutes. I'm sure I'll be done. Okay. Okay, those of you on Ask the Pediatricians Facebook group, you can actually drop your questions straight to the group and I will see them. But those on ATP family, ATP still a mom, you will need to click on the video, and then if you have a question, if you don't have a question, you can actually just watch the video. But if you want to drop your questions, you have to navigate your way to the video itself and drop it directly under the video, because that's the only way I'll be able to see your questions. All right, good. I think I'm done now, and then I can focus on the topic itself. Okay, once again, for those who are just joining, I want to welcome everybody. My name is Gbemisola Boyede. I'm a pediatrician. I'm the founder and CEO of Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. And Ask the Pediatricians Foundation is committed to the health and the well-being of children, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa. And so today I'm going to be we're talking about breastfeeding. This is Breastfeeding Week, the first week of August. Every year is a World Breastfeeding Week. It's a week set aside to promote information about breastfeeding and talk about breastfeeding and support parents about breastfeeding. So that is what we're doing this week. Okay, one of my colleagues, Dr. Rotimi, already talked about the benefits of breastfeeding. I'm sure many of us know them. I may be able to recap a bit about that. Again, we have series of what we call breastfeeding videos, which is what we focused on yesterday, and we try to put it and highlighted them on our featured posts on our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatricians Facebook group, and it's for you to watch about breastfeeding, how to initiate breastfeeding within the first 1 hour of life, how to position your baby for breastfeeding, how to attach the baby to the breast, how to increase your breast milk supply. How do you do with breast pain? How do you do with needle pain? How do you maintain breastfeeding when you're walking? So there are videos that address each of these things. They are just about 5 to 7. I think the longest maybe 10 minutes video, and they're available in English, in multiple languages. They're even available in local languages like Yoruba and Hausa. So if you download the Birth and Beyond app, you can actually watch those videos and you can understand more, because breastfeeding is an art. It's something that has to be learned. It's something that you have to be supported to do it. And like I'm going to talk about, one of the challenges and why people struggle with breastfeeding is because they don't have that right support when they are starting breastfeeding. And this is what we're dealing with this week: how to support parents, how to educate them when we talk about breastfeeding generally. So let's start from the beginning. Just a little bit of let's talk about the facts, then we'll talk about the myths afterwards. So let's talk about the facts about breastfeeding. What is breastfeeding? I think it sounds very, very, we just assume we all know what breastfeeding is, but now there's been a lot of people clamoring for change and saying let's do chest feeding because of being politically correct and for the trans people and all that. But anyway, we're still maintaining the term breastfeeding for now. Breastfeeding means feeding a baby from the mother's breast, okay, and giving the baby the milk from the mother's breast. And that is what breastfeeding is. Now, one of the facts you need to know about breastfeeding is that from all the research, from everything we've done, we know that breastfeeding is the best way to feed a baby in the first 6 months of life. All the nutrients, all the water, everything, including protection from germs and infections, everything that a baby needs in the first 6 months of life is provided through breast milk. In other words, there's no need to give baby any other milk, any other liquid, any other form of food apart from breast milk. Okay, so this is research, this is evidence, and again, like I said, we talk about it. So breastfeeding is not just about food. Of course, food, it provides food for the baby, it provides water, but what makes breast milk superior to any other form of feeding of the baby, including formula feeding or using other animals' milk, is the fact that breast milk also contains agents, what we call um immune agents, cells, antibodies, so many of them that protect that baby, that very fragile baby in the first 6 months of life. So that is why breast milk is the best. And apart from protecting baby from infections, it also protect them against allergic reactions. So most babies can react to protein from other people's milk, like cow milk. We have what we call cow milk protein allergy and all that. A baby on breast milk does not have to deal with that. We also know that there are some conditions that if you, a baby that was breastfed will be protected against in future, things like diabetes, mellitus, and all that. And apart from the baby, breastfeeding also has a lot of protection for the mother. Okay, it helps your womb to return back to normal as fast as possible. It protects you against breast cancer. Yes, so a mother who is breastfeeding is protected against breast cancer, and the longer, the more the protection. And of course, it's also a form of family planning, even though it's not 100%. But there's, as long as you're breastfeeding, sometimes you will not see your period, and that because of that, you will not likely get pregnant. So there are many benefits for breastfeeding for the mother, for the baby, and also for the community, for the society. It's free, it's cheap, it costs you nothing. You don't have to spend money boiling water or buying fuel to boil water. You don't have to spend money buying bottles, buying flax, buying bags. It's always available at the right temperature, anytime, anywhere. Just that. All you need to do is just to feed the baby. So breastfeeding, and of course, because when you use cans and formula, you are generating a lot of waste for the environment. Okay, your tin has not been easy to, to recycle and all that. So again, the society is the environment is protected through breastfeeding, and of course babies that are breastfed, we found that by research they have higher IQs than babies that are formula fed. So these are all the benefits and of breastfeeding. And so breastfeeding is enough. So there are lots of, I think for the meat and fat, I think it's best I take the meat and the fats together rather than talk about fats because it looks isolated. When we're talking about fats, that has to do with breastfeeding, our meat that has to do with breastfeeding. Some people believe that the first milk that comes out of the breast, what we actually call colostrum, is sour milk because it doesn't look white. It looks either yellowish or amber color, and people think, or sometimes it looks colorless as well, and people think, oh, that milk is bad, is sour, and then it has to be thrown away. Unfortunately, that is a very terrible and wrong myth because breast milk, that first set of breast milk, what we call colostrum, is actually the first immunization for the baby. Okay, that colostrum is loaded with antibodies, with cells. It is actually the baby's first immunization against diseases. So do not throw it away. Do not throw it away. A baby must be fed colostrum. So the first milk in the first few days of life, usually the first 2-3 days, is colostrum. It tends to be colorless. It does not look like white. It does not look like milk, the proper white milk that most of us are familiar with, but it's still breast milk. And it is more richer in protein, richer in antibodies. It is the baby's first immunization. The baby is literally coming out to an environment full of germs, and the baby practically has not been exposed to those germs. So the baby does not know how to fight them. But you, the mother, has been exposed to all these germs and everything. So you know how to fight them. So the mother, you are transferring a lot of your protection, antibody cells, you're transferring it to your baby throw colostrum, it must not be thrown away. It is the baby's first milk. That is the first thing that must be given to the baby. Not water, not glucose water, not any other milk. It is colostrum. Now, what I found out that mothers sometimes think that's colostrum, it's not milk. So a mother is lactating, but because she's not seeing white milk, she thinks she's not yet, she thinks there's nothing is coming out because she's not seeing white milk. That something is coming out. Okay. So sometimes I tell her, just press the breast. You will see it. It comes out, it may look like water, it may look like yellow something. It doesn't look like proper white milk, but it is still breast milk and something is coming out. So you need to give it to the baby. So it is an error to throw away the colostrum. Now, the second myth, very close to that, is the fact that mothers are saying, oh, I'm not lactating. After I've had my baby, the milk is not coming out. And because the milk is not coming out, then Dr. Baby, can we go and buy formula? Can we give glucose? Can we give water? Now, I always tell mothers, the milk will not come out until the baby sucks. So it is the other way around. You are waiting for the milk to come out before you breastfeed. The brain, the entire body is waiting for the baby to suck for the milk to come out, because that's what we call the milk lets down. There's a reflex. So the body, the brain, the milk is actually produced from the brain. Okay, so there's some hormones that control milk production. So those hormones are setting information and all that. So the body, I don't want to go into the medical jargon, but there's a process that information gets to the brain, then the brain says, okay, let the milk come down. Now, it is when the baby sucks on the breast, that sucking initiates that process, okay? It initiates that milk lets down. That's what we call it. We call it milk let down. And that is why we say the baby must be put to the breast within the first 1 hour of life. The baby must be put to the breast within the first hour of life. When you put the baby to the breast, the baby sucking on that breast, it is what is going to make the milk to flow. If the baby does not suck, the milk is not going to flow. So most mothers are there waiting. There's nothing coming from my breast, and they're not putting the baby to the breast. So somebody has gone to buy one formula or glucose water and all that, and then they don't give the baby breast. The milk is not going to flow. So whether you see milk or not, put the baby to the breast, okay? It is the baby sucking on that breast that will make the milk to flow. So that is one thing I need to correct. And it doesn't matter whether you have cesarean section or whether you have normal delivery. Your baby, if you watch that breastfeeding video, if you put the baby on the mommy's stomach immediately after delivery, in other words, immediately they cut the umbilical cord, they just put the baby on the breast, on the mother's abdomen. That baby will find its way to the breast and latch onto the breast and start sucking without any help. That is the truth. That's, if you watch that breastfeeding video, you will see that, you will see a practical life. Just put the baby on the breast, because the baby has all the sense of smell. So the only thing the baby wants to locate is the breast, and the sense of smell to locate the breast, and the baby will wriggle by itself, find his or her way to the mother's breast, latch onto that breast and start sucking without any help from you. But why does that not happen is because of the process of delivery. Some of our nurses follow. So when the baby is caught, people take away the baby from the mother. Then they go and clean the baby, wash the baby, pretty up the baby for everybody in the family to see, and then clean up the mother. Sometimes in that process, they even actually clean up some of those signs. There's some chemicals that the baby has on their hands and the like that helps them to kind of communicate with the mother. So some of those things are cleaned away. That's number one, which is wrong. The baby does not need to have a bath after the delivery. The baby just needs to be cleaned with olive oil or something, and then put to the mother, to the breast within the first hour. Okay, another major issue that some places do is to separate the baby and the mother. So they put the baby in a different room called nursery, and they put the mother in another room because mother is tired, mother is this, mother is that. Actually, if they have cesarean section, that is wrong. The baby must always be with the mother. The crying of that baby alone stimulate your breast milk, stimulate those hormones to start working, the hormones responsible for breastfeeding. Okay, so it is important that the baby is with the mother We call it rooming in. The baby must always be with the mother. The mother's seeing the baby, hearing her baby crying and all that, also stimulate those hormones and those processes that will allow her milk to flow. And then baby suck on the breast, the milk will start flowing. It is important that that process is established as quickly as possible. When we break those processes and we don't allow it to flow naturally, then we have problem initiating breastfeeding. So that is number one around breastfeeding. And your breast milk is enough. Okay, that's another various if that's another myth about actually the grandmothers. I don't know why they always just believe that the breast milk is not enough, and I think I may be wrong, but I think the grandmothers want to have the baby. Okay, but the only thing nobody else can do for the baby apart from the mother is breastfeeding. Everybody else can do anything. They can bath the baby, they can dress the baby, but you, the mother, you are the only one that can breastfeed the baby. In fact, mothers have complained to me about some other grandmothers trying to breastfeed the baby themselves with their own breasts. I mean, even though there's nothing in it, which is completely wrong. Okay, so the baby has to be with the mother, and the mother should breastfeed, and your breast milk is enough for your baby. Now, a lot of reason why mothers think that breast milk is not enough is because baby cry, and they say, "Oh, baby is crying. It means baby is hungry." And I said, "No, the only language baby speaks is crying. Okay, that's the only language baby speak in the first few months of life. That's the only language baby speaks. Baby wants something, baby cries. The baby wants food, baby will cry. Baby is tired, baby will cry. Baby is wet, baby will cry. Baby wants to poop, baby will cry. Baby wants to sleep, baby will cry. So it is wrong to start putting yourself under pressure, thinking that because your baby is crying, even after finish talking, then that means your breast milk is not enough. That is a myth. Your breast milk is enough. Okay. There are ways by which we know your breast milk is enough. The most objective way to know your breast milk is enough for pediatricians is that your baby gains weight. A baby who is not having enough breast milk will never gain weight. Okay, so if a baby is gaining weight, that baby is getting enough breast milk. Of course, you cannot go and be weighing your baby every day at the pediatrician's office, but your baby is making urine. So usually most babies will pass urine after 30 minutes of feeding. So if you are changing your nappies, baby is making urine, baby is passing stool. The stool can be either way, but sometimes babies may not pass stool for a long time when they're on breast milk. You're changing your wet nappies at least 8 times a day. The baby is having enough milk for them to be wetting their nappies enough. So crying is never an indication baby is hungry. Crying is not a sign that a baby is not getting enough breast milk. That is number one. Number two, the fact that the baby wants to be on the breast all the time is not a sign that the baby is not getting enough breast milk. I'm going to answer your questions, but I just want to quickly lay the foundation first. Then I will start answering the questions. Okay, so please keep dropping the question as I'm saying my own. You are remembering, drop your questions. I will answer all of them. All right. So the fact that babies want to suck all the time is not an indication that the baby is not getting enough breast milk. Okay. Now, sucking is a pleasurable activity for babies. Okay. It's something pleasurable. So babies like to suck whether they are hungry or whether they are not hungry. In fact, for us as pediatricians, we use what we call is a sucking reflex. We use it when we want to do procedures for babies. So we want to do a procedure for a baby that will be painful. We get them to suck on something. So they feel pleasure as they're sucking. So want to give them a needle prick or something, want to take sample, or want to do some. You get them to suck on something, and whether it's glucose water or if the mother breast, most of the mother cannot carry baby when we're doing the procedure. As long as they're sucking, it kind of gets the pain they will feel, and some of them may not even realize when we've done the procedure. So sucking is a pleasurable thing. Baby likes to suck just for sucking's sake, not because they are hungry. So because some mother say, "Oh, my baby just always wants to be on the breast 24 hours, and that means my breast is not enough." No, it does not mean your breast is not enough. And some of you have also know what I'm talking about, because even when you feed the baby and they are full and they are almost vomiting the breast, or they even vomit, they will still keep sucking. So it tells you that and you can see the tummy is so full and so distended. So there's so much milk in there. So it is not about breast milk is not enough. It is about, I just like to suck. And also sometimes babies realize that you are the food source and you are the food security. So they really want to guard that food bank. They don't want you to run away. So, and they know that the only way they can be sure that this food source is not going to run away is to hang onto that breast. So as long as they're hanging onto the breast, so that's why they are sucking, they sleep off, and then you want to say, okay, thank God, let me put the baby down. Then people like, no, you can't run away. This is our food bank. So they hang onto your breast again. So that is not a sign, because the reason why I'm emphasizing on this, these are the reasons why people don't want to exclusively breastfeed their babies, because they felt, oh, the breast milk is not enough, I'm not producing enough milk, or my baby is not getting enough milk and all that. No, you're producing enough milk. So all those are not reasons for us to say your breast is not enough. So there are other ways by which we can check your baby, and like I said, the most objective of them all is a baby who is gaining weight. Okay, the other signs is we can actually measure how much quantity of milk is this baby taking. So we can get you to express, and we see, okay, you've expressed 150 mils, and that baby finishes that 150 mils and we still crying. That baby has had enough milk. So it's not like this. So we know that it's not a matter of the baby is not getting enough milk. Sometimes we have to experiment that for some mothers to actually know that they are making enough milk. Unfortunately, when mothers begin to worry and when they begin to get anxious and they feel pressure of the fact, I'm not lactating enough, my baby is not getting enough milk, my baby is crying, this, then you start getting worried and anxious. Then you actually stop reducing your breast milk production. Because like I told you, breastfeeding is from the brain. It's not from your breast. The breast is just producing the milk. It's just the milk flowing out of it. It's from the brain. When you are stressed, when you are anxious, your brain stop producing breast milk. It says, okay, let's stop breastfeeding. This mother is anxious. Let's produce stress hormones. The mother wants to run away. The mother wants to fly away. Let's produce adrenaline. Let's produce cortisol. Those hormones are anti-breastfeeding hormones. So they don't allow the progest, the oxytocin, the progesterone, the prolactin, all those breastfeeding hormones, they don't allow them to work. They block them. And that is why when mothers tell me, I'm not lactating, I'm worried, I'm anxious, I said, relax, relax, relax. This is not because I'm trying to make you feel good. It's actually the solution, because when you relax and you believe that you can breastfeed and you start carrying your baby and you're confident in yourself, you can do it. Trust me, all those hormones that produce breast milk, they start working well. The stress hormones goes away and you're lactating well. So this is very, very important for us to get. All right. So that is that. And whether you have one baby, two babies, you can actually exclusively breastfeed them. Triplets may be challenging because of logistics, because before you finish one, before you go to two, you may just have to keep on breastfeeding. But if you're lactating where you can express and other people can help you, but you can actually exclusive. I mean, we have a lot of testimonials on our page, on our Instagram page, about people who exclusively breastfeed their twins. All they need is that encouragement, and they can do it. So you can do it, and I trust you can do it. So we want you to give your baby breast milk only. Another myth is the fact that, how can somebody eat and not drink water? How can they eat and not drink water? So when you give breast, you must give water. And I always tell them, God in his infinite wisdom has put both the food and the water together. Okay, because breast milk is 70% water. It is already more than enough water in breast milk. Even when your baby is thirsty, give breast milk, because 70% of breast milk is water. And it's very easy experiment. Just express your breast milk. Put it aside in a clear bottle for 24 hours and go and look at it. You will see the water on top. You will see the milk residue below, and you can measure the amount of it that is water and the amount of it that is the milk, the solid part. So breast milk is already water. There's no need to add more water. When you add water, number one, you dilute the calories, because the water you are adding is 0 calorie. And the baby's stomach is like this, just a fist. So if you put too much water inside, there's no space for the real food of the milk. So that's why you should not give them water. Two, most of the water some of us are giving are contaminated water. These are water that already have germs. The breast milk water is sterile from your body. Nothing to it. Nothing to I want to speak pidgin. Okay. So you should just give that breast milk. No need for water. No need. All the grandmothers, no need for water. Water is already packaged into breast milk. It is 70% of breast milk is water. That is number one. That's another thing we really need to, because a lot of Nigerian mothers actually breastfeed their babies, but do you know our exclusive breastfeeding rate is 17%. That is horrible. That is horrible. So we need to get that rate. It should be close. When we get it to 80%, we're going to save. ATP, we're committed to preventing deaths of our children. And we're so passionate about breastfeeding because breastfeeding is one of those child support strategies. And I know a lot of people always say, Dr. Mimi, you always talk about breastfeeding, you always talk about breastfeeding. Why don't you talk about bottle feeding? And I say, I choose to decide what I want to talk about. And I don't do that to make you feel guilty. But I know from evidence that almost 1 million child deaths will be avoided every year just through exclusive breastfeeding alone. Just like immunization, just like exclusive breast, those are the things that will keep our children not dying before the age of 5. So we are really passionate about breastfeeding. And I know many reasons why people don't breastfeed. You know, we started advocacy about the government giving us 6 months maternity leave so that mothers don't have to go to work and to worry. Then you can breastfeed without worry and fear, and you get your salary. That's why we're advocating for the Nigerian government to do that. And I thank God for those states, Lagos, I think Kaduna, Ekiti, they're already doing that. So we need to have all the states of the country doing that. You need to breastfeed. When you breastfeed, you are protecting your baby. It's not just about putting food in the tummy. That is a mistake mothers think, just for the baby to eat. No. Breastfeeding is more than feeding. It's more than the baby eating. It's about keeping this baby alive. It's about protecting this baby. So we really, really need us to understand that. So that is why you need to give them only breast milk and no water for the first 6 months. And after 6 months, you keep breastfeeding for as long as you can until at least 2 years. Then, even though you are giving other food, but your baby still needs breast milk. Okay, I will take a pause and answer a few questions, and then I will come back. I still remember some myths, but I will come back and address them as we go along. Let me start with Instagram people. I hope if you have questions, please drop them now and don't run away. I'll try and address them. Thank you so much for joining us as we talk about breastfeeding. Amara King said, I was told exclusive breastfeeding baby don't have cough and catarrh, but with this, my babies, we have had like 5 times in 6 months of life. Thank you very much. So, Amara Kings, when we say breastfeeding protects against cough and catarrh, against respiratory infections, it does not mean the baby can never have it, or it does not mean you should go and expose your baby. And then it's just the same way when people say we get COVID-19 immunization and they say you never have COVID. No, people can have COVID-19. People can have COVID even after getting COVID immunization. So breast milk protect, COVID-19 immunization protects you, but it is not going to mean that you never have it. But most likely, if you are going to have it, you are going to have a mild one. Then number 2, most people who say they are doing exclusive breastfeeding, they are not doing exclusive breastfeeding. They are giving water. They are giving drugs. So when people tell me they are doing exclusive breastfeeding, I always ask them, tell me what you do. Do you give water? Because a lot of people don't even know that giving water is not is not exclusive breastfeeding. They think as long as I'm bringing breast milk. No, exclusive breastfeeding means breast milk only, nothing else, including no water. And of course, you keep your baby away from things that can make babies to have infection. The fact that you are being protected by something does not mean you should expose that baby to all those germs and baby will not have it. But most likely your baby is not going to have a severe one compared to a baby who was not breastfed. Okay, most likely those one may end up even in the hospital. So for your babies, if they're having recurrent respiratory infection, you say you had like 5 times, why? That's the question I want to even ask you. Why your baby have respiratory infections? We need to ask that question. What are you doing? Where are they sleeping? Are you using generator fumes? Are you taking them to the kitchen? Are you frying fuel? You know, all those things that irritate the airway. Are you taking them to places where there's a lot of fumes and, smokes and all that? Are they going to crashes where other children are coughing and then they're also getting exposed? So you need to ask all those questions. So I can tell you that babies that are exclusive breastfed are less likely to have respiratory tract infection compared to babies who are not breastfed or who are not exclusive breastfed. Okay, but why your home babies are having respiratory tract infection 6 times in 6 months I really need to know why. I think there's more to it. If a child, for example, has maybe some other health issues, some other underlying medical condition, for example, I'm not saying that's in your own case, I'm just talking generally. Some children have heart condition, they are going to have respiratory infection because of that condition. So if the fact whether your baby is breastfed or not, if your baby is having respiratory infection 5 times in 6 months, I am worried because that is like once every month. And then the question is why? So they are always getting exposed to something. You need to deal with that first. So it is not about breastfeeding. It is about why are your babies having respiratory infection. But because respiratory infection should protect your baby, but it does not mean you should expose your baby to the circumstances that will make baby to have respiratory infections. So that is how those kind of things work. All right. So I'm alright. Still saying I like breastfeeding babies have stronger immune system. Yes, but for my 2-year-old, any communicable or viral infection, it brings home Apollo constant. So Amara, I think you need to check your environment. So your babies that are exclusive breastfed are protected against infections and all that. Okay, your 2-year-old, the protection of breast milk is already winning house. At that point, it is the exposure your babies are having. So your baby is always going to school, to places where your baby is exposed to other children who has cough, who has all those things. Your baby is going to have it. So you are the one that need to watch and deal with the environment. That is the same principle I told you about. You have to talk about the exposure of your baby. It's not just enough to say you are breastfeeding. It's not enough to say, okay, I've taken rotavirus infection vaccine and I'm going to go and drink contaminated water so that I won't have diarrhea. No, it's not like saying, oh, government is protecting my house against we have security police, we have security camera. Then I'm going to leave my house open unlocked. Then I will go out because there's a security or a police down the street. No, so you have police, you have security, but you still lock your house. You still take so everything is not everything. You're not going to put everything on breastfeeding. You still need to take precaution. And I have a feeling that your children are getting exposed to many germs. You need to watch that environment. You still need to deal with it. It's not enough to say it's about breast milk only. Okay, so you said why some babies are overweight. I've seen a breastfed baby of 6 months weighing 10 kilos. Now, there are many reasons why a baby could be overweight. It's not about food alone. Some babies can have medical conditions that can make them overweight. Some people have genetic predisposition. For you, you think it's just because the baby is being breastfed. No. So if a baby is overweight, we pediatricians need to see the baby. We need to know why, and we need to deal with that. So, and some people will tell you they're exclusively breastfeeding their babies, but they're also doing formula feeding behind that they're not showing you. So we can't answer that question in isolation, okay? Because it's only what you saw. There are many things you don't know. Does this child have a medical condition? What is this child doing behind that you don't know? So if a baby is overweight, that baby needs to be seen by a pediatrician for us to deal with it. All right. Okay, it's Samara Kings only. You have so many questions on Instagram. Okay, so you said why is some breastfed baby is not chubby? So I've written an article on help my baby is not chubby. A lot of mothers are looking for chubby babies. We are looking for healthy weight babies. Okay, pediatricians, we're not interested whether your baby is looking fat like myself or his baby is looking very slim. We're looking for a baby who has the appropriate weight for the age of the baby. Okay, so that's the most important thing. And a baby who is on exclusive breastfeeding, we have appropriate weight for age for the baby. So that is what we wanted for the baby. And it is not about jumping to complementary feeding before 6 months. A lot of mothers do wrong things. I always say mothers don't like to listen to pediatricians, but when things go wrong, you see end up with the pediatrician. So it's better to listen to pediatricians in the first instance. Complementary feeding should be from 6 months, not before 6 months. Some people say, they don't know what they're saying. I'm going to do my own. Of course, you have a free will and a free choice of how you feed your baby. It's your choice. Our role is just to advise you on what we think is the best. But if you do it, good. If you don't do it, fine. We will still meet where we normally will meet. Okay, and so that is our own role. It's not a legislation. We can't force you to do anything. We can only advise you. But if you are going to say come to us when things go wrong, then I will advise that you also listen to our advice. So I hope that is helpful. All right. American, does breastfeeding help babies achieve milestones faster? Not necessarily. Breast babies achieve their milestones when they want to achieve. So if a baby has any brain injury, whether you exclusive breastfeed or not, that baby may not achieve that milestones on time. A child who has Down syndrome, even if you exclusive breastfeed, that baby will not, it's not going to achieve milestones faster than what is expected for that child with Down syndrome. But one thing we know is that breast milk contains DHA, and DHA is very good for brain development because the brain is not fully developed at birth. And so, because the brain is not fully developed at birth, the first 5 years of life is very crucial for brain development. So, if your baby is not getting the nutrient that the brain needs, the brain development will be hampered, and that will affect that child's development. And brain again is time. There are some things the brain needs to have at the right time. If it doesn't get it at the right time, it's be a problem. So breast milk contains DHA, which is very important for brain development. Most of the other formula, except the especially fortified with DHA, may not have DHA, and that means the brain development will not be the brain development may not be optimal because the brain is not getting the components that it needs for proper development. Okay, I will take a break and I will come back to Instagram. So let me quickly go to Facebook and answer a few questions. Thank you so much for joining me. Zainab, good evening. Wurala, good evening. Thank you. Facebook user, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Okay, I have lots of more greetings on Facebook than questions. Okay, I have one question now. Okay, somebody say, how about giving the baby Abidic and vitamin C? The doctor recommend this at the hospital. Okay, fine. So for exclusive breastfeeding, one of the facts about breastfeeding is that breast milk only and no drugs, no agbo, no herbal concoction, and all that. But any medication prescribed by your doctor is exempted from that. So if your doctor prescribe a medication for any reason, it's okay for you to give it, even though you're exclusive breastfeeding. But what we are saying is that don't go and be giving your baby a go and everything, and now say you are doing the exclusive breastfeeding. No, that one is not exclusive breastfeeding. No. But if your baby is sick or your baby, for any reason, your doctor feels that it's a reason why they should give multivitamins, okay. Usually I prefer the mothers take the multivitamins because when you take the right multivitamins, you can actually, your breast milk will have those vitamins and you don't need to give a baby any vitamins. So that's what I will recommend. All right, I think I will go back to Instagram. So if you have any questions, we still have 15 more minutes. Please drop them. Okay, somebody, Amara, say, I never noticed my colostrum being yellow amber color. Don't worry, as long as you're giving your baby breast milk in the first 1 or 2 days of life, what you're giving is colostrum. Whether you notice, because if you don't express it, you won't see it. Because you are putting your baby to bed, baby is sucking it. You won't see it unless you express it. But for those of us that work with, sometimes we have preterm babies, and preterm babies sometimes they cannot suck directly in the first few days because of maybe they are still struggling to breathe. We're still trying to put them in the incubator. We're still doing so many things. So usually we expect the mothers to express. So we definitely know how colostrum look like. You can also go on Google and you can see how it looks like. All right, somebody else is saying, please, what if you started lactating after 4 days with the first milk, still be colostrum? Well, usually, yeah, I think so, but usually, I have a feeling that even when people say they are not lactating, they could actually be lactating, they could actually be producing colostrum, but most people don't think it is what is this colostrum. They think, oh, I just see water. I've seen a lot of mothers who say that. So, but usually transition milk, there's also what we call transitional milk, which is between 3 to 5 days, and then we have the real mature breast milk. Another thing I need to quickly chip in is that there are two components of breast milk. The first part of breast milk is usually watery. We call it fore milk. It looks watery. And a lot of mothers will see that and say, my breast milk is so watery. I don't think it's good. There's something wrong with it. No, there's nothing wrong with it. So the first part of milk is what we call is fore milk. It's watery. It's very dilute, like dilute milk. Now, that is the water part of milk. It is to give the baby to hydrate the baby, to quench their thirst, because baby are sucking for thirst and for food. So the first part of milk is watery, is to make them, to quench the thirst they have. Then the end milk, or the last part of the milk, which we call the hen milk, is the creamy part of the milk, very fatty. That is the one that fill the baby with, that makes them satisfied, satiety. That's the one that actually make them full. So it is important. That's why it's important that your baby suck on the breast and empties one breast before you transfer them to the second breast, so that the baby takes both the fore milk and the hind milk. Some mothers will quickly start breastfeeding 5 minutes, and then the other milk is not empty, then it switches to the other milk. So the baby takes both fore milk here and fore milk here, and the baby feel the test is gone, baby is still hungry. So it's important that you, and mothers, I don't know what, if when you're breastfeeding, you will feel, usually before you start breastfeeding, you feel that breast full, you feel it full. When you can even be leaking out and all that. Then when you breastfeed, you will feel it empty. You will feel it empty, like it's going flat. Then you know that is empty. Usually that may take another, depending on some babies. Actually, when babies start sucking, they themselves, the same way you are learning to breastfeed, the baby are also learning to suck. So babies in the first few weeks of life, they are not efficient suckers. So they do choke kind of sucking. They will suck. They are not very strong suckers. So they take longer. So they may be there for 30 minutes just trying to empty breast, because they are not very efficient. But by the time they are like 3-4 months, they are now professionals. So 5 minutes they can empty the entire thing, and you push them to the second one, boom, they empty. You see the way they saw. You yourself, you will see the way they are drawing out the milk. Some of you, if you are very sensitive to your body, you will feel that draw, because they are more matured and all that. Now, before I go on, before I forget it, because it's very important, one of the major issues with breastfeeding is attachment of the baby to the breast, what we call latching. Now, latching is 98% breastfeeding. If you don't get the attachment right, you will never get breastfeeding right. Okay. I almost forgot that, and I thank God I remember, because it's so important. But this is where the frustration comes from. The baby is not supposed to be sucking on the nipple. Okay. I don't have a I don't have like a model here to demonstrate, but you all know what I'm talking about. So there's a part of your breast that juts out, that black part that juts out. That is your nipple. Now, most mothers put the nipple in the mouth of the baby. Now, the baby is going to be frustrated because there's no milk in the nipple. So the baby, that's why most of you end up with nipple wounds and breast wounds, because and your breast is so full and you have pain and congestion and all that, because when baby suck on the nipple, nothing is going to come out. So baby think, let me suck harder, nothing is coming out. Then baby gets frustrated, mother is frustrated, baby is frustrated. Now, the parts of the breast that extend beyond the nipple, I'm trying to see how to demonstrate it. I think one of our lactation nurses, she's going to come with her model and show you guys. So there's a black part beyond the nipple. The nipple is the one that projects out. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about for the mothers. The parts beyond that nipple that still look black, your breast, the other part, that's the fatty part. That you don't even need that part. That one is for your own cosmetics. Okay. What we need for breastfeeding is actually the nipple part and the areola. The areola is the black part beyond the nipple. Now, that areola is where the milk banks or sinuses, as we call them, that is where they are. So that is where the baby needs to put his mouth. That is where the gum of baby need to put on, because even when you want to express your breast, that is where you should press. When you press on that areola, you will see your breast milk gushing out like tap. But if you are pressing on the upper part of the nipple, nothing is going to come out. So most mothers struggle with breastfeeding because there's no proper attachment of the baby to the breast. So what we want you to do is that the whole of the areola, almost everything, should be in the mouth of the baby. So when you want to breastfeed, Allow baby's mouth to be open wide, and then you put everything in. When you put everything in and you're breastfeeding well, you should not see, you should only see very little of your areola, very little of it. If you are still seeing a lot of it, your baby is sucking on the nipple. If you are having breast pain, if you are having nipple sores, your baby is sucking on the nipple. You are not attaching your baby to the breast properly. It is so important. This is actually the most important part of breastfeeding. If you get lactation right, latching right, or attachment of baby to the breast right, everything else will be fine, because breastfeeding is painless. If you're having pain when breastfeeding, your baby is sucking on the nipple. Okay. And please, let's breastfeed directly unless we say you should not. And if we say you should not for health reasons, or maybe it's a sick and all that, and we ask you to express, please use cup and spoon. I know it's very frustrating, but the nurses can teach you how to do it very fast. Just put the cup in the mouth. There's a way we do it. The reason is that if you give your baby bottle, especially in the first few months when they are still learning how to suck, you are going to introduce what we call nipple confusion. Okay. Nipple confusion means when your baby suck on your nipple and your baby suck on the teeth of a bottle, the baby will find out quickly, very wise babies, that it is less stressful to get milk out from a bottle than to get it out from the mother's breast. Okay, the mother's breast is real work. That sucking is real work. But the bottle one, most of you, especially you, those of you that have perforated that teeth very well, that's just a little press on the mouth, and you're also helping them teeth. The whole milk is just rushing. The baby doesn't even need to suck. But for the breast, the baby have to suck out the milk. So we don't want you to introduce bottle to babies early, because once you do that, that's why your baby will not suck. Then you say, oh, my baby does not suck, but when I express, baby will suck. It's nipple confusion. So please don't introduce bottles to babies at all. We don't even like bottle feeding. And not because of the hygiene and all those other things related to it. But some people say, oh, yeah, we sterilize, we do all that. Yes, the another reason why we don't like it is because of nipple confusion. So we don't want to bottle early, and we want you to get attachment right. Please watch the breastfeeding video. If you at least watch one video, watch the one on attachment of baby to breast. You must get that. Once you get that, every other thing else will be fine. Breastfeeding will become sweet for you as well. So it is important that mothers get that. Most of the mothers that have frustrated with breastfeeding is because of poor attachment. It's because we just put that nipple in the mouth of the baby. No, we should put the nipple and the areola, almost all of the areola. We should barely see it at all when the nipple is in the mouth, when the baby is sucking on the breast. So that is what I think I should remember to add. All right, I just take the remaining questions. Again, if you have questions after the program is over, remember you can always ask a question on ATP. And apart from myself, we have two lactation consultants, nurses, who are going to come tomorrow. Again, I think 7 p.m. tomorrow, and another one on Friday, 7 p.m. And on Saturday, we're still going to have open house on breastfeeding. Open house means just ask any questions. Again, I will not be talking. That one will just be ask questions. It won't be a video streaming. It will be just a post where you can drop your questions and we answer it all day. All right. So Hamara King is saying, let me be sure I didn't drop any questions. So okay, I've answered that one. Chief Edgar say, Doc, I don't know why my 4-month-old daughter has been having low PCV. I checked last week, PCV is 28%. She's on Actifair. So if your baby is on Actifair, the iron we're giving at that point is just for storage. You need to ask your doctors really why your baby is having low iron. I don't know. Sometimes some babies is during delivery. Maybe when your baby was born, the way the cord was held or the baby was held, either they didn't allow enough blood to flow to the baby, or the blood flows back the other way around, or some other of your, as your baby been sick, as baby has any health issues. So the doctors who is seeing your baby should be one to tell you why. But I just want to let you know that even when they're giving the iron, it takes time for it to change, because the iron has to now be processed into the red blood cells and all that. So just let your pediatrician managing the baby explain to you what is going on. All right. Somebody saying, Doc, why is baby not? What if baby is not getting proper weight? Blah blah blah. So weight gain is not only about food. Weight gain is not only about food. So of course we know that food is the number one. So what we normally do first is to establish that your baby is actually getting enough food. So when a baby is not gaining weight, or what we call failure to thrive, especially for babies, for infants, if they are not gaining weight, we first establish that is this baby getting enough food. That is the number one thing. So we have to express, we have to, so we first establish that you're giving enough milk. If we establish that you're giving enough milk and baby is sucking well, baby is getting enough food to gain weight, and baby is not gaining weight, then we ask ourselves why. So why is baby not gaining weight? So there are many medical conditions that may make a baby not to gain weight. Many of them. So that is our job to now investigate. So a baby who is not gaining weight, who is getting enough milk, most likely has a medical condition. Any of the organs of the body could be a condition. Baby may have a heart problem, may have holes in the heart, could be. Baby may have other syndromes, congenital problems. There are many things that could be going wrong. So it's the job of the pediatrician to now investigate, to know what is wrong and to handle it. So sometimes until you handle what is wrong, baby will not gain weight. But like I said, because we know most of the time 50% is food, we sort out the food first because that's the easiest one to do. We sort out the food, make sure baby is getting enough food, and sort it out whichever way we can do that. Once we sort that out and the weight is not going up, we know there's a medical problem, and that is what we need to do. So everything is not only about breast milk, okay? Everything is not only about food. There are other reasons for other conditions. Okay, so Shifega, today is about breastfeeding. Any other question, I will encourage you to post it on our Facebook group. I think I just want to talk about breastfeeding today for your baby who is having itching eyes, blah, blah, blah. I think you need to see your pediatrician. Your baby have allergies. Most likely know what is causing the allergy and to deal with it. Has nutrition got anything to do with breast milk? What do you mean nutrition? Do you mean the nutrition of the mother? The truth of the matter is that even if you are not eating well as a mother, you will still produce breast milk for your baby. Okay, you will produce, because babies are parasites and the body will just always demand it and they will produce it. It's just that the mother is the one that will now look, that may suffer for it. So we want you to eat well, because when you are lactating, when you're breastfeeding, you need extra calories. You need at least 500 kilocalories in addition to what you will get. Let's say you are getting 2,000 kilocalories when you are not breastfeeding. When you're breastfeeding mothers, you will need like another additional 500. That's why you see breastfeeding mothers say, oh, I'm always hungry, I want to eat, so I'm feeling this. I know some people exaggerate it as well. Anyway, but please don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, actually breastfeeding can make you lose weight as well. But if you overdo it, then you gain weight instead of losing weight. So we want the mother to eat well and all that. So okay, Amara, can you only tell us about you've seen what I was talking about, residue milk and all that. Somebody's asking, how do you cure cough and catarrh for a baby under 3 months? You don't have to cure anything, just leave the baby alone. Exclusive breastfeeding, keep the baby warm, keep the baby away from people that have cough and catarrh. That's all you need to do. If the baby is having fever, baby is breathing fast, baby is having difficulty with breathing, please go to the hospital. Don't give cough syrup. Don't do any self-medication. Go to the hospital. That's what you need to do. I think that's all on Instagram. Oh no, that's not all. Okay, I've seen more. Videra say, does what I eat as a nursing mother contribute to the quality of my breast milk production? No, and I won't say quality, but what you eat also goes into your breast milk. Okay, it can be good or bad depending on what you're eating. If you're eating healthy, it's good because your baby will taste whatever you are eating, and that is good for your baby when you start complementary feeding, because the baby is already tasting, you already know the taste of yam, already know the taste of vegetable, already know the taste of rice and potato and everything you are eating. But the bad part of it is that if you drink alcohol and things like that, take drugs, it goes to your baby as well. So if you take alcohol, for example, your baby is going to suck the alcohol in your breast milk. So, and that's not good for the baby. So we want you to eat healthy. It's good for your baby. It's not much about quality, it's more about content of the breast milk. So that's how I will look at it. Can I give my baby bottle with my milk and egg? We don't really appreciate that. Like I said, especially if your baby is still very small and your baby is not yet sucking very well, don't do it, because your baby is going to have what we call nipple confusion. So we say for that stage, you can give with bottle, you can give with spoon, bottle or cup and spoon. So yes, so that's what we say that. But beyond that, some mothers find it very convenient. I understand that, but just be aware of the risk. And another risk again with bottle is the cleaning. No matter how much you wash and all that, you will never 100% get rid of all those bacteria. So you have to be very careful. For our mothers who have to do formula feeding because of HIV or other things during those periods when we could, or maybe mother is late and all that. What I normally recommend is that if you have to do bottle at all, then you have to have several bottles. So you use one bottle, you throw it away. You discard it for that day. You don't reuse it. Unfortunately, most people don't do that. So they use one, then the next meal they just rinse off and make another meal into the one they just used. Bacteria has grown in that one, okay? And you are giving your baby bacterial culture. So it's not surprising that babies who are on bottle are always having diarrhea, infections, and all that. So it's a lot more work to do bottle feeding that people know, because you have to sterilize, and you have to sterilize each bottle per use, not for the whole day use and then you sterilize in the night, which is what most people do. So we don't encourage bottle feeding generally as pediatricians because of all those risks involved in there. So Federa say after 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding, can mother gives routine drugs like cod liver oil? There's nothing routine about drugs. There is no drug that is routine. Okay, if your child doesn't have any medical condition, maybe sickle cell anemia, and we say, okay, be giving folic acid and all that, a healthy child who is eating well, who is doing everything, does not need any routine drug. There's nothing routine about drugs. So your baby does not need to take any other drugs. Your baby needs to eat food. Everything you want to give in cod liver oil is vitamin A, D, A, K, and all that. The baby can eat it in the food. And it's better they eat it in food than they take it as drug. So there's nothing written about drugs, and we don't encourage it at all. Apart from babies who have other illness, and that is what the doctors recommend. I always like to qualify that so people don't misquote me. Somebody say my babies are still sucking at 2 years. That's perfect. That's good. What should you do? Nothing. You can breastfeed beyond 2 years. Okay. When you are ready to stop, I don't know why mothers always ask me, "Oh, I want to stop," but what do you do? When you're ready to stop, you stop. You are the one that will decide when you're ready to stop. But I don't have any problem with your baby sucking at 2 years, 3 years. If you like suck to 5 years, I'm fine. I'm good. Well, it's up to you, really. But if you want to stop, just stop. At least we want you to do at least 2 years, which you should have done, which is perfect. So, but if you want to stop, it's okay. Somebody say, can I give water to a baby who is 2 weeks old? No, I think you are joining me late because I've just spent the last 1 hour explaining why you shouldn't give water. So I will encourage you. I am Larry Posh. I will encourage you to watch this video again because I really took time to explain why you should not give water, because breast milk is already 70% water, and I don't want to go and give contaminated water or go and give something else instead of water, which has happened before. I've actually lost a baby before because the grandmother gave kerosene when she was trying to give water. And of course, baby had kerosene poisoning, the baby died. And it was very painful. A new baby. And the lesson for me is that if this mother is just doing exclusive breastfeeding and there's no need to even give him water, then we will not have mistakenly give kerosene. Then we will not even be in this situation at all. So no water. Water is already in the breast milk. 70% of breast milk is water. So no additional water. All right. Yeah, I feel the grannies are the major confusion. I agree with you. Absolutely. We have in breastfeeding and motherhood. I agree with you. I know why the grannies are like that. I understand, but you have to be firm with grannies. I'm a pediatrician and my mom was still dealing with me with all these things, and I'm like, no, I have to take my foot. This is what I'm doing. Learn to pick your battles. Fight the good battle. Fight the good ones. So, but I always tell mothers, you are the one that went through 9 months of pregnancy. You are the one that went through maybe 10 hours, 12 hours of labor, or 4 hours, depending on how long your labor is. It is your baby, okay? Your baby is your baby. Nobody has a right. In as far as pediatricians are concerned, we only know one mother with a baby. You, the mother, we don't know any other person, whether they're granny or grandfather. Only the mother is who we know. So we want you to be firm and take charge. I know it's hard because we most of us. I'm also Yoruba and I live in a culture where we respect grandparents, and they are absolutely beautiful. And I love grandparents because you need help when you just have a new baby. They are very, very helpful. But when it comes to the meats, oh my goodness, I know they are also the they are the chief custodians of the meat. So I always want you to be firm. For things that don't matter, you can let them have their way. But when it comes to feeding your baby, when it comes to anything passing through the mouth of your baby, please stand your ground and say no. And no is no. If his mother-in-law, better get your husband to talk to his mother and find your way. You have to use wisdom, but you'll still have to be firm. All right, I think that's the last question. Instagram, I'll just say the last few questions on Facebook and we can end it there. Somebody is saying, okay, I've answered Cecilia's question. Young say, oh, I love listening to you. Your reward is inevitable. Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful words. Amen. I say amen to that. Zainab is saying, Doctor, I'm 34 weeks pregnant. Congratulations. I noticed that the dark circle of my breast itches a lot and the skin. Yeah, that is your areola. So what you need to do is that you need to prep for breastfeeding. So what you need to do is that most of us don't wash our breast. Okay, you need to wash it. You should wash just normal soap, the one that you are not allergic to, and then you use Vaseline around that area. Just use the Vaseline. You need to clean out the nipple. So usually the nipple, the parts where the milk is, you will see that white dot. That's where the milk is going to come out from. Sometimes it gets blocked with all those all those black skin you're talking about. They are dead skin peeling off. So just clean them off. You can scrub them with a little bit of your sponge and then clean it out and then apply Vaseline. That's all. And wear your bra. So you can do that every day. If you do that every day, all those things, you'll get rid of them. So they are dead skin, get rid of it. And your breast is already getting ready for breastfeeding as well. So it's fine. Yeah, it's normal. There's nothing wrong. It's normal for you to say that. Imonge say, good evening, doc. Thank for your good work. But baby sucks only on one breast. I need to talk about this. Yes. Your baby should suck on both breasts. There's a reason why God gave us two, okay? Your baby should suck on both breasts for your own sake, because if you don't, what you don't use, the nature abhors vacuum. No, that's not the right one I want to say. There's a way I want to say. Anyway, anything you don't use goes into disuse. It will atrophy. It gets smaller. The body doesn't waste anything. The body does. If something is not needed, the body will just kind of stop supplying that part because you are not being useful. So we don't need to supply you anything. What that means is that if you are breastfeeding and you're only breastfeeding on one breast, your second breast will get smaller and will dry up, and you will not have unequal breasts. And some of you don't like that for cosmetic reasons. So the baby are meant to suck on both breasts. Most of us have our good side. So some people just instinctively, whether you are thinking about it or not, consciously or unconsciously, you tend to go for one side because that is your dominant part of your body, and that is the easiest place. For example, if you are right-handed, it is easier for you to put your baby, on the breast, because your hand is going to go on that side. So you have to be conscious about it to alternate the breast. So when you finish reading this one, if your baby is still hungry, you go to the second one. If your baby has slept off, fine. The next time you're going to breastfeed, please start with your left one. If you did the right first, then you go to the left, and vice versa. You must always alternate the breast. A lot of mothers say, I'm only doing one breast. No, you are the one doing it. You can put the baby on the other breast. And when you say, oh, when I put the baby on the other breast, baby doesn't like to suck that one. I say, you see, babies are also conscious of what is comfortable for them, but you are the parent. So babies are not going to control you. Trust me. And you should let them. I'm not saying you are going to be mean parents to your babies and all that, but you should also learn to be firm right from the beginning. Don't let babies just crying to control you or anything. You know what is right thing, you do it. Okay. So you put your baby. So when your baby is hungry, start with that breast that you think your baby doesn't like. Start with that one. Your baby is likely going to take it because at that time the baby is really hungry. Okay, and it's because if you don't alternate the breast and you also don't do proper attachment, these are the things causing this problem. You must also do proper attachment, because when babies suck on the breast and no milk flows, then they get frustrated. So it is, and the more you don't give baby on that breast,
the mother breast will not have milk, because breast milk is demand and supply. It's a demand and supply. If you don't demand for milk on that side, there will be no milk on this side. That is the truth, because the brain gets the message that we don't use this one, milk is not being used there, then we don't produce milk out. So that is why that's another thing I forgot to mention. Baby must be breastfed on demand. The more you breastfeed, the more your milk will flow. A lot of mothers don't breastfeed, they breastfeed one and then they go away, then the baby will take formula, baby will take water, their milk cannot, then they will not say my milk is not for your milk is not going to flow, because you are not giving the breast all the time. So but the more your baby suck, the more you produce, the more you lactate, the more your milk will flow. And the same thing with the breast, the more your baby suck on both sides of the breast, the more both sides will produce milk. So for a young guy, you need to put your baby on the breast, and you can always start again. As long as you're still breastfeeding, that milk will flow on both sides, and it's important to do it as well. So don't do one side breastfeeding, you must do both sides. It's very, very important. Thank you for asking that question, because it's one of those questions that I tend to forget. Somebody said my baby was exclusive breastfed, weight of 6.5, 6.1 at 7.1. That's fine. You didn't tell us the birth weight of your baby. The birth weight of baby should double the birth weight at 6 months, but 7.1 for a 6-month-old baby, I am not worried. It's fine. Baby's poo is green in color at the ratio of 8:2. How did you do the ratio of poo? Anyway, your baby is gaining weight, so at least that is reassuring for me. You didn't tell us the birth weight of your baby, which is important for me to know, but it's good, and I am not worried about the color. The color could be a reflection of what you are eating, but sometimes green could also be, especially green that is watery or scanty, could be a sign of starvation or maybe not getting enough milk. So you have to be sure. But if it's exclusive breastfeeding, maybe it's gaining weight, we are not going to be worrying or fussy about the color of the most subjective, like I said, is the weight. Things like baby's tummy, baby's stool, baby's urine, and all those ones are just additional information. But the most objective is what you've told me, which is the weight. Baby's gaining weight, baby's getting enough breast milk. Young say my baby prefers breastfeeding to taking cereal. Your 10-month-old. Okay, she acts like she wants to vomit when you bring food close to her. Okay, yeah. So I end up giving her breast milk most of the time. I think she's too old to be on breastfeeding majorly. Your baby who is 10 months old needs to still suck. That is number one. Let's establish that. So there's nothing wrong that baby is too old. The baby is not too old to be on breast milk until they are 2 years and above. So a 10-month-old should still be sucking. But a 10-month-old needs more than breast milk, because breast milk is not going to be sufficient for a 10-month-old. So you need to now give other food. So, and other food complementary feeding is not cereal. Okay, that is where you are getting it wrong. It is not cereal. There's more to complementary feeding than cereal. Okay, there are so many food. In fact, there's no food you cannot give your 10-month-old baby. Your baby can take rice, your baby can take yam, can take porridge, can take potato, can take fish, meat, egg, everything. So why are you focusing on cereal? And maybe that particular brand of cereal, your baby does not like it. Okay, and it's not compulsory for baby to take cereal. There are other sources of carbohydrate, there are other protein, there are other food that your baby needs to take. So fixating your baby on only one food is a problem here. So the baby doesn't have any problem. I think mom needs to go and do our guide on complementary feeding. Watch the feeding. We have the feeding video the same way we have the breastfeeding video. We have the one on complementary feeding. I really think you need to go and watch that and introduce more food, new food, different variety to your baby, rather than just cereal. I mean, I'll be bored of cereal myself if that's the only thing I want to take. And I'm happy that the baby is taking breast milk, but it won't be enough for the baby, and your baby will start losing weight. You didn't tell us the weight of the baby, which is important for us, but you really need to go get the baby. And it's not common for you to take pap. It's not common for you to take any cereal being sold in the market or any cereal at all. There are other things that will give baby carbohydrates, tubers, all the things. And there are even the cereal themselves, there are like many of them. Rice is also a cereal. You have your maize, you have your wheat, you have your guinea corn, you have so many of them. So you have to do variety. And even when you're giving the cereal, you don't just give only cereal. You have to add other things to it. It has to be variety and different classes of food put together at once for your baby to be able to get it. So I hope you can try that as young queen. Your baby needs to eat more than breast milk, but it's more than also cereal. Is it good to take teething powder? No teething powder at all. Whether 1 month, 5 months, 10 months, 2 years, no teething powder ever. It is not good. It is dangerous. It is bad. It is horrible. So don't even go near it. Just if you have bought it, throw it away. Just throw it in the bin. All right. Somebody said after express breast milk pump, what should I use to feed my baby bottle? Okay, bottle of cup and spoon, cup and spoon. But I prefer you breastfeed your baby directly. Is there any reason why you're expressing? Why not give your baby, unless you are going to be out of work, maybe you are going to work, or your baby is sick and in the incubator, and we don't want you to breastfeed directly. It's better to breastfeed your baby directly and all that. But if you are expressing, it's also okay. But we don't like bottle. That's the honest truth. For various reasons I've mentioned. For those who are asking. Birth weight is 3.5 and your baby has doubled the birth weight at 7.1. That is normal. Okay, that is normal. The 6.5 to that's not really, it doesn't really matter. Okay, there could be errors and measurements and all that, but for us, baby was 3.5 at birth and it's now 7.1 at 6 months. That baby is following the textbook, which says babies should double their birth weight at 6 months. Baby has doubled it and added 0.1. That is more than normal for us. Okay, but both do this, so there's really no reason to worry. All right, I think that is all for today. Somebody say, is it too late to start all over? It is not too late. You can always start. You can always do the right thing even now. The last I think some people have some question before. Okay, Okpe, I can see Okpe on the video. Okay, okay, yes, okay. I think I know where it stopped now. Yes, you can always rewatch the full video. Yes, thank you. Lolly Spicy with I'm almost switching from to formula and breast milk at the same time. My baby is always crying, guys, she's hungry. Okay, I've addressed that question. No, sorry, Lolly Spicy Diver. I've addressed that question right at the beginning of my video about how you should not use crying as an indication of you being not getting enough breast milk. You need to rewatch the video because it will help you understand. Somebody, a reader is saying, I stopped breastfeeding my baby because my left nipple poor latching. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's why you are listening now, so you know how to do it right the next time. But you can see starts right. Somebody said I've been feeding my baby on 1 month on one breast for a month now. She's not accepting the second. Yes, you can still give her the other breast. You can always do the right thing. It's never too late to do the right thing. As long as your baby is still breastfeeding, you can do that. All right, thank you so much. I think we've stopped for today. Again, like I said, if you have any more questions about breastfeeding, head over to Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group and you can listen so that you can ask your questions. You can rewatch the video first in case I've answered your questions before you came, before you joined us. Or if I've not answered your question, feel free to pop into our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group, and post your questions there Mondays to Saturdays, and I can answer your question. Tomorrow, I'll also be on Fresh Waves Radio. We're going to talk about breastfeeding 10 a.m. tomorrow. If you want to join us, you can also join us. And on Friday, I'm going to be on Murphy's Nigeria page, and I'm also going to talk about breastfeeding as well. If you want to join us and ask more questions, you can. But again, you can also post your questions on our Facebook group. And on Saturday, it's going to be open house. Ask questions about breastfeeding all day. So, like I said, this is breastfeeding week, and we're stepping up. We are stepping up for breastfeeding. We are educating. We're supporting. We are here to support you. We want you to breastfeed not because we want to we want to force you to do what you don't like, but because we know the benefits. And for those of you who are bottle feeding or doing formula feeding, if you look on the can or the tin of your formula, you will see it written boldly there. Every formula is written there that breast milk is the best. It has to be written there. It's a law. It's what we call the breastfeeding code. So they must also tell you what is the best. Of course, even when they tell you the best, you have a choice not to do the best and go for second or third best, but I would rather encourage you to do what is best. And breast is best. Okay, breastfeeding is best. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined me today. This program has been brought to you by Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. I will catch you another time. I don't know. Yes, I'll catch you tomorrow on Fresh Waves Radio and on Friday on Murphy's Nigeria page where we still talk about breastfeeding. But two of our lactation consultants are coming tomorrow, 7 p.m., and another one on Friday, and they're going to be talking about breastfeeding again from the perspective of the nurses and lactation experts. Mothers, make sure you catch them, ask your questions, and I'm sure they will do a lot of demonstration as well for you. Thank you so much for watching, and bye. Bye, bye, bye.